Hello, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. This is our fourth video on Project 5-0, our 2014 Police Electroglide, or Electroglide Police. And we just put a radio in it in our previous video, and this one's to show you how to change out your thumb controls to one that will control your radio, as well as repin some harnessing necessary so the horn works correctly, and to put this bike back in civilian mode. So hang out as I go over all the details. All right, so if you've got a police bike and you're wanting to do the radio upgrades that we've been doing and you want to change out your thumb controls, we hear all the time, hey, I changed my thumb controls out and now my horn is stuck on and it won't quit blowing. So I want to try to get ahead of that and help you in the middle of your install before you get to that part by pointing out some things. So under your back seat, there's going to be a black connector, and this black connector is going to be pinned with 3 to 4 wires. Normally there's going to be 3. There's a pink wire on ours, there is a blue wire with what looks to be a brown stripe, and then there is a red wire. It appears not to have a, well, it's got a little blue stripe on it. So red and blue, blue and brown, and a pink wire. Now when you look at this thing plugged in, the colors don't match across from each other, and what we have to do is we have to actually unpin this harness and move the wires where they match up to the mating wires on the other side. So to do that, it's not going to be real difficult. We're just going to pop this little plastic cap out of the inside with a screwdriver. You can just pry on the sides and you'll see that this just pries right off. That's what retains our wires, so we're going to pull that out. We're then going to take a small screwdriver and we're going to lift up. Inside of there, there's a little clip that holds the wire. You're going to push that clip, and at the same time you get it pushed and released, you're going to pull the wire out of the back side of the connector. Let me see if I can get this one done. It's always easier to do if you're not filming it. All right, so I pushed it. Now I'm going to pull the wire out. So it's not a very difficult thing to do once you get the little cap off. So I'm going to unpin all 3 of these wires. I'm going to pull them out the back side because all 3 are in the wrong location. It looks like somebody previously damaged a wire and somebody has repaired it before we ever got to it. So for whatever reason that has happened while it was in police use. Got one more wire to get out. There we go. So now I'm going to take my connector and I'm going to look across and see which wires need to be connected where. So I'm going to take my blue one. I'm going to take my red one with the blue stripe and I'm going to line it up in the correct hole to match up to this mating plug. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it through. It goes like that. You'll hear it click when it goes to the right place. We're going to do the same thing with our blue wire. It's going to go in this bottom corner. The blue one with the brown stripe. Push it in until we hear it click. And then we're going to take our pink one and put in the last remaining hole. All right, so now we're just going to look inside. We're going to make sure that all of our wires are flipped the correct direction because we need to get them where they go before we put our retainer back in. We've got them all lined up. And we're snapped back in. So now all of our wires, if you were to plug this in and look, red to red, blue to blue, and pink to pink. Now on this one we have a pink and white stripe on one side and a solid pink on the other, but as long as you mate these up like you see here, now when we change our thumb controls out, our horn's going to work. It's not going to blow all the time, it's only going to blow when we press the button. So this is a simple thing to do, saves you a lot of headache later. So let's move to the front and let's change out our thumb controls. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little switch here and we're going to take it off because it's going to transfer over to our new thumb controls. It's going to take a little screwdriver, you're going to put it in here and you're going to kind of pry outward with it. It's going to snap off. Next step, we're going to take a Torx T20 and we're going to remove the 2 Torx screws. Loosen that one, remove the bottom one. All right, so that's going to take our cover off. Or bolt the rest of the way out here. All right, so next step, we're going to remove 2 more Torx bolts here on the outside of our grips. All right, just going to let our back cap come off, and we're just going to let this kind of hang for now. Now we're to our actual controls, and you're going to see they just kind of snap together. Got a little screwdriver again here. Just going to undo this little clip. They're going to come off, and then it's going to pull to the front. Now on the back side, you'll see there's just one little electrical connector. We're going to follow our wiring up through here, undoing where it goes, and unplug the one connector. All right, so we're going to unclip our new controls. Open those up. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our wire, we're going to plug it back in. Just like factory, you want to follow these wires and tuck them in so that nothing gets pinched or hurt as you go back together. Now we're going to come back out here, snap it back over, or snap back in place. So now we're going to take all of our parts. Our grip almost come off there, but it didn't. You're going to want to make sure you get this rotated where it needs to go. We want to kind of get these started. We're not going to go real tight with them yet. Just want to get everything positioned where we want it to be positioned. Make sure it's all in where it goes. Make sure our clutch switch is still lined up correctly. Original front cap's going to go back on. There we go, got my grip twisted where it goes now. Much, much better. As you see, that was very, very easy. We just want to look and make sure that we have everything at the correct angle, and we do. We'll finish tightening up those first 2 bolts all the way. And then we'll slide our switch back on here. All right, let's move to the other side. All right, so we got one side done. Spun the bike around here on our very, very cool Let's Roll jack. So now you can get a better view on this side. I'm going to go ahead and do the same steps. We're going to remove our cover. remove the 2 screws in the front. Just going to let everything try to come off here. We'll kind of hang this down to the bottom until we get done. All right, so now here we are back up here to our switches. Same thing, there's a little plastic clip we're going to unclip. Bring this forward. And again, we're just going to undo the wiring. So we're going to pull the wiring out of this channel that it's in, all the way up to the plug-ins. Then we're just going to unplug each one of these connectors. Sometimes I need a small screwdriver to be able to get in there and do that. All right. So one important thing about your switches are you've got to make sure you buy switches for your correct year model bike. 14 to 20 are all the same. 21 and newer are also is a different one. So 21, 22 is going to be a different set of controls. Biggest difference was our clutch went to a cable clutch. They changed the way the switch worked. The other thing you have to make sure is that you pick switches when you order them that have the same features that your original bike had. Now, I know you didn't probably have thumb controls, but what we want to make sure is if you had cruise control, that your new switches have cruise. If you had traction control, that your new switches have traction control. But if you buy traction control switches for a non-traction control bike, this is not going to work. And you're going to get done and you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be trying to figure out what happened. And in reality, you just got the wrong switches. So here we are. Our switches are in. Let's get all of our other parts back together now. Go ahead and put the front and the back on here. Definitely want to make sure that you run everything back the way it used to run. You don't want to pinch any wiring. We don't want to cause problems we didn't have. All right, let's make sure our throttle's still where it goes. This is not a hard process. Switches are, maybe they're a little expensive. I think the switches on this bike are about $260 at the time of making this video, so they're not cheap. But it's definitely worth having them when you're thinking about going down the road, trying to reach out and touch the radio. And I think it's well worth the cost. And look at all the money you're saving, because we just showed you how you can do this yourself, which is going to save you a lot of labor. At the Harley dealer, they're probably going to charge you at least an hour to change these, and that's going to be $150 or more. So you save that by being able to do this yourself. So we've got our switches on. Let's fire this thing up and let's see if everything works. Hey, the horn works like it should. It's not stuck on, so that's a problem a lot of people have. I'm glad we don't have that problem. Let's get our SoundStream radio fired up. All right, now I didn't put an antenna, but I'm going to go into FM anyways, because I just want to make sure my volume works, which as you see, it works. Should work from either side, and it does. On this particular set of controls, what we have is if we press in on our left button, it's going to go through our available sources. Right now I don't have Bluetooth connected, USB connected. We just put it in, so radio's only it, but I'll press in, it says radio, so that's correct. Bring my volume up. If I press in on my right controls, it should mute it, which it did, exactly as it's supposed to. And if we're hooked to something, I can go ahead and push forward. You'll see that we're scanning through our presets, right and left. That's what this controls does. It does track forward, track backwards. It also scans through presets. So thumb controls work. This has been a success. We actually have a radio. We have sound. Let's go through some more features on the radio while we're here, because I want you to learn a little bit about it. Hit our home button, it takes us to our home screen. You'll see here it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability. That's going to be plugged into the USB that we ran into our storage compartment. Now we do offer a wireless adapter that plugs in there and lets you do Apple CarPlay or Android Auto wirelessly. That means it will display the maps and the apps on screen wirelessly. Now we do have Bluetooth, which without an additional adapter connected to your phone will wirelessly transmit audio. So you would get your music wirelessly up to the radio, but you won't be able to view your maps through Bluetooth. We also have a USB input, so you could load music on a USB and plug it in there. So your options are going to be music on a flash drive, Bluetooth from your phone, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or FM if you connected an antenna. We didn't do an antenna. This radio, I really like the fact it's got a lot of settings that make this look better. For instance, we can change our button colors. Let me go in here and do that. So button color. I'm going to turn it off auto, and I'm going to go orange because we have orange gauges. I want all that to match. I think it looks really good that way. We have a 13-band EQ. We'll go back home here, and I'll show you that. So we have 13 bands of adjustable equalization. I'll go over that more in depth as we do the speakers and the amps. We'll use an RTA. We'll set this all perfect with our new SP 4.900 Hertz amp later on. We had RCA outputs, which the factory radio doesn't have. We don't have to flash this radio to correct any faulty EQ problems. We do have a day and night mode, which dims the screen at night. Makes it very bright during the day though, so it's as bright as a factory GTS radio. So it's better looking than the GT option or the 4.3, as bright as the GTS at less than half the price, and a much better display than any of the aftermarket radios that most people decide to put in their bike. Also being IPX water rated is going to mean that we're not going to have to worry about rain. We're not going to have to worry about those problems. Let's go back in our settings menu and I'll go to the audio and EQ again. We have balance and fader. As you see, it shows a motorcycle. This was built for a bike. This is not a car radio adapted into a Harley. If we go back, we're going to see that we have our 13-band EQ we just talked about. We also have front and rear selectable crossovers, so we can block a low bass from coming to our speakers, which is going to make our 6.5s and our 6x9s play a lot louder while staying clear. We also have sub set up, so if you added a sub, you have full control over that also. But this has turned out to be great. We got our radio in, we got our wiring ran in. You know, a couple hours ago, this bike had a pocket where a radio went and no speakers. We now have a full functioning radio with working thumb controls to do volume and such. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's a very easy task. I think you could do this yourself. All right, so we're going to wrap up our 4th video. So this was how to put your thumb controls on your police bike and make them functional. I hope this really helped you. I hope it answered a lot of questions. I hope it encouraged you to take on a project like this and save the labor that you would normally spend at the dealership. But again, if this isn't something you want to do, if it's more than you can do, come visit us. We're right outside of the Great Smoky Mountains. We're within an hour of the Tail of the Dragon, the Cherry-Hilla Skyway, the Foothills Parkway. We're about 15-20 minutes from an area they call the Devil's Triangle, where Brushy Mountain Penitentiary is. So you can go there and eat, you can ride some of our beautiful roads, but definitely make a trip out of it. Come to Tennessee, come to the Great Smoky Mountains, and come to Volunteer Audio. Let us put a radio in for you, let us put an amp and speakers in. Maybe you've just bought those things from us, stop by and see us anyways. Let us check it out. I'll do a polarity check on it. We'll make sure everything is exactly like it's supposed to be. We'll help set your EQ up. We'll make your bike sound even better. But thank you so much for watching this video. Watch our future ones. We've got a lot more to do to this bike. It's going to get rear speakers. It's going to get a bigger amp, exhaust, handlebars. We're going to change out a good portion of the body, maybe get a different wheel. I mean, you know, we can just spend money indefinitely on one of these Harleys, but we love doing it. So we're going to make it our own, and we'll have this available to be seen coming up soon. Come to the Hog Rally at Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson. That's September 27th through October 1st of 2022. And then in the spring, we'll be in Daytona there in March. So come check us out and check out the full build. You'll be able to see it in person, listen to it in person, and believe me, YouTube never does the audio justice. It's so much better when you get to hear it for yourself. But now, we're already this far in. We've got our SoundStream radio. We've got thumb controls that operate it, and I'm very, very excited to see the rest of the build, and I hope you are too. Comment below if you have any questions. Subscribe to the channel. That way you get notified when we post the rest of the videos. We're always going to be Harley or audio oriented. I think you'll enjoy the videos and you'll learn a lot in the process. But yes, comment below. I'll answer your questions. You can also email us, sales@volaudio.com. Call us at 1-844-30-AUDIO. You can talk to Samantha. You can talk to Zach. You can talk to me. We're here to help. We're here to answer those questions and make sure you get the right parts. So reach out to us, and then definitely come visit us if you're in the area. Tennessee's a great place to visit, great place to live. A lot of people are moving here recently. So come see us. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I hope you have a great day.